Hey guys, Two Guys in Hockey Talk coming at you, Season 4, Episode 33. How's my co-host, Pavel?
I'm doing wonderful. I am happy. It's playoffs. It is a hot summer day here in Edmonton. I hope it's warm wherever you're tuning into. And I'm doing fantastic because we've got the last 8 teams remaining in the playoffs to talk about. Woo!
All right. Hey, before we get going into everything, let's talk about some of our partnerships. So tell them where we can follow, and let's talk about our partners.
Remember that we are live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We go live. We talk all things hockey with our Sports Empire partnership. They have some great content there. We love it there. Key and some of the other guys. We love you guys. We appreciate all the help. We also have partnered up with JP Morgan's that do our website, twoguysinhockeytalk.com. We are actively looking for writers. So if you are interested in writing for your team, you let us know. We will put the name and our email into the contact list there in the bottom of the chat. And we want you guys to reach out to us and let us know, whatever team. And we have a few people interested, but we need more. If you want to talk about your team and write things, let us know. We'd love to get you on there. And It has a list of all our former guests, so make sure you give us a follow on YouTube. We appreciate the subscribers. We also like to hang out and talk on Twitter. You can follow Evan at Revenev, or you can follow me at hockey_2. We love it. We love hearing from you. Evan, anyone else I'm missing?
Yeah, no, we are good. We have a new announcement today. Had our conversation this morning. We still got to put ink on the paper, but we have our new sponsor and our new partner who we will be partnering with them in the music world. Welcome, Penny Billionaires, the electronic hard rock band. Our new exclusive song, Invincible, we're going to debut tonight at the end of the show. We got our new video, everything ready to go for next week. So you're going to get the exclusive here. So what's happened, everyone? We made a deal just like you would see on a lot of your big shows on Sportsnet, Hockey Night in Canada. Old Nickelback signed back in the day, made their deal with Hockey Night in Canada. So the Penny Billionaires, we've been working on this for a little while, reached out, had a discussion. They're out of Arizona. They were shocked to know many of you are in Arizona. So all you Arizona fans, Penny Billionaires, guys, go give them a follow. Follow us on our Twitter and on all of our social media platforms. Check them out. But their song is now our song exclusively for Two Guys in Hockey Talk called Invincible. So you guys are going to love it. It's a really nice song that blends really well, I believe, with what we're doing. And don't forget to go on our website. Now, we're still working on some details. We don't have our blogs up for writing. We've started adding all of our guests. We got our media platforms. But it's a place that you're going to be able to catch up on everything going on. It will be the hub, and this very stream through our YouTube channel. So some of you are catching us right now. Yep, some of you are over on our YouTube channel. So if you're following through the YouTube channels, either through Sports Empire and or through Two Guys in Hockey Talk, you have a chance. Man, there are so many things that have been going on. So really welcome, Penny Billionaires, Greg. And Greg Jacks is his name. He's won some Emmys. He's played on some of the biggest bands, especially over in Europe. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have him on the show, probably a pre-recorded show for 10 minutes. So everyone knows these guys are joining us, but they know nothing about hockey. And they're excited to learn. So we're going to steal some of their fans and bring them over to the Hockey Kingdom.
Well, it feels like now we're on par with some elite competition of people who know nothing about hockey. So I think we can really bring it and have an elevated discussion about the NHL and all things hockey.
Woo. Okay, man, I think we're ready to go. We got a few things. Should we get into the playoffs that are going on right now, or should we talk about a couple teams that are out?
Couple teams that are out, because what was out in the first round was one of the wildest, craziest first rounds ever. And I think we need to get into the fact that the Boston Bruins are now eliminated from the playoffs after a historic 65-game win. Evan, what are your initial thoughts?
The first thing I thought is, what a punch to the gut. So interesting enough, and I talked about this a few weeks back, I put on my Twitter, I said, listen, the Bruins fans and the Oilers fans better be careful how much they go out there pumping their tires, acting all big and all. We know Toronto's been doing that for a long time, and it's nothing but heartbreak. And I guess I didn't expect it, but I expected it. And the reason is they hadn't faced a lot of adversity this year. A loss here or there to Edmonton or to another team didn't amount to a whole lot of anything. So, but you know what? Got to really say, Patrice Bergeron, it's a sad day for him because who knows if he's coming back. But just so everyone realizes, the overage on their salary next year because of bonuses with Pasty and Krejci's coming back and everybody, that's going to equal $5 million already eaten up on next year's cap.
4.5, I think it is.
Yeah, is it 4? Okay, I thought it was closer to 5. You might got the. You're the guy that does the research, man. I just network everyone. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little concerned next year they're going to be able to hold this together. Bruins fans, I hope for your sake you're not going to be dealing with that. But the Cats found a way to claw back, and yeah, what was your initial thoughts, guys?
First off, credit to the Panthers. They rocked, and they really brought a coming out party, and they didn't go away. And Bobrovsky looked out of this world when he struggled this season, and he was replaced, as I recall, we chatted about goaltending. Alex Lyon was supposed to start, and technically he did in the series, and, he faltered a bit. So Bobrovsky going out and winning and playing like he did in 2019 versus Tampa, wow. Props to him. Let's say now, Brandon Montour, it's his coming out party. He has really taken a step forward since Mackenzie Weegar left to Calgary. And Matthew Tkachuk, next to McDavid being otherworldly, he is my second nomination for the Hart candidacy. Like, that's how valuable he is to that organization. And I'm sorry, Calgary Flames fans, you lost a big name, a big player, and they really gained a new presence, given that Huberdeau is gone now, and he's really made an impact. Now, that being said, they still have Barkov, who's been quietly having an okay first round, but watch him to go out and have a blast in the second round versus Toronto, because I feel like he can really make an impact there. But props to them. So Bruins,
I got shivers, man, just talking about Barkov coming alive.
Let's talk about the fact that the goaltending question was iffy. Allmark potentially playing injured, Swayman coming in Game 7. I don't know if that was the best decision. But Patrice Bergeron coming in and mixing it with the lineup, especially after being injured and having a herniated disc, especially since Boston was winning. And, I know he played that final game in Montreal at season ends, which it didn't really mean much. For him, it did, of course, but for the regular season, he could have opted out, but he didn't. He's from there, from that area. It means a lot to him, but his family was there. We may have seen the last of Patrice Bergeron, but I think there were some questionable coaching choices, and I put this squarely on that because that is what I think made an impact in this series. And I think Paul Maurice really made
Wow. Okay, so obviously probably right now I'm not seeing Go Bruins. So I don't see Jake on here, and I don't see Kyle saying anything right now. And so, guys, if you catch us later, how do you have a coach of the year and then you blow it in the playoffs? Can I just say that? Because maybe coach of the year should not just be based on regular season of the year, because there's no coaching award for the playoffs. And you got to believe that when the playoffs come, if you're that good a coach, now, if I'm voting now, I'm not voting for their coach anymore because you can't fail your team, be up 3-1 in the series, even have the lead in Game 7, falter that bad. I think this falls on coaching, not only players. There were some moves.
If we're talking coaching and you've got the jersey behind you, my vote goes to David Haxtell because he took that team from last year's Seattle, 60-plus points, and now they're in the second round and won last night. So we'll get into that. But that's my vote for a coach who has really made an impact. Like I said, Boston went on a run. I will say Tyler Bertuzzi, 10 points, great addition. They should re-sign him. He may return to Detroit. We'll see. We can speculate in the offseason. But really, Boston needs to look at some questions because, like you said, they're going to be in the rear in the cap next year, and they've got some decisions to make. Hey, William, get excited for the Oilers game? Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
So can I just say, because we are in our hometown of Edmonton, this show is airing 15 minutes early. so we really don't miss anything and have you guys spoil our fun.
So Evan,
and so why don't we will finish with the Edmonton Oilers and Vegas series. Is that fair, William? If you hang in there, I know you're like, well, now you got to hang on for a whole freaking show. But hey, man, it's all good. Anyway, I'm ready to take a drink before we get to the next thing.
All right. So I will say one thing. I ran into a fan of the show who works at IKEA here in Edmonton. We were chatting a bit. Blaine Graham. Shout out to him.
Hey, Blaine.
He told me to say, what the hell are you talking about, Evan, half the time when you speak? So we had a good conversation about that. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there so he knows. So
hey, Toronto
Maple Leafs.
Whoa. Okay, hang on. Before we go there, I do want to bring something up here, because before we get into the playoff team stuff, I want to bring up here Calgary. We all know we talked about the Sutter firing. We've gone through this. I was just thinking, Blaine, you know how you're saying if I don't know absolutely nothing about hockey and what the hell am I talking about? Interesting enough, all the Flames fans, you guys been not listening to what I've been tweeting, and good for you that have been listening. This guy's been around the hockey world long enough to have my ins and not give up my sources, even if you think my sources are the local convenience store guy. The bottom line is I'm right more often than I'm wrong. And I called this last year. Did I not call this over a year ago when everything was going down?
I feel like I need a sign and like a banner for it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I guess I'm bringing it up because now I got Flame fans all over my Twitter, DM me saying, man, what's going to happen? What's going to be there? Now you guys think I'm their insider. All I'll tell you is I have a couple insides, but one of the things you guys all got to recognize right now with the rumors that are going on, we always talk about being respectful. Sutter is still a human being. As much as we may not like his style and the things he's done, and I made sure to put that out here tonight, I love him as a person. He has been so good for hockey. Him, his family, what he's done for Calgary, LA.
More Stanley Cups than most people do. So.
Yeah. He's got more Stanley Cups than some of you have had baseball cups. Okay. So they're in a predicament. We're not going to take a lot of time today because we're going to deal with this at the end of the season, when we wrap up the playoffs before the trade deadline and the end of our year a little bit more. But I'm pulling some stats for you to see. Tyler Toffoli right now is their top guy at 73 points. If you look at their points per game, is at 315. That's not good enough. You can't be at 315 in game, and their goals against went down. Markstrom struggled again. That was a bit of an issue. I know a lot of people are all mad at Jonathan Huberdeau. And then there was an article, both you and I were in on that today, right? Yeah. You know, that comes out in Calgary that, they're listening to the snowflakes, those poor players. Well, what do you have? What was your response?
I essentially, not verbatim, but it was a silly title, probably for clickbait. That's fine.
Exactly, it was.
Rick Bell, I think it was.
Rick Bell, yeah. And he does that.
Just kind of talking about the fact that it's snowflakes. It's not snowflakes. These are some of the toughest SOBs in the world that take pucks, block shots, get physical. They don't like the coaching style. And why can't players ever have a right to say, this is not how I like it? The game has changed. You see it more with the Trevor Zegras, and you want to make an impact, or a Jack Hughes, and they want a coach that's young, that's fresh, that can understand them and can speak the game differently. It's no longer the 80s or the 90s. And the team tuned it out. And what we've talked about this, Evan, before, and I've talked about this before myself, so you guys can quote me. What's easier to get rid of? 50 players on a roster, but even
I know what you mean.
May have less, right? But can you get rid of all your players, or can you get rid of a coach? What's easier? It's not my fault Brad Treliving gave him that big bonus and signing, but I think he should have waited. He thought it was differently. You guys thought you replaced Kachuk and Gaudreau with Huberdeau and Kadri. It didn't pan out for 1 year. You were only a few points away from the playoffs. I personally would have kept him and seen what happens one more year. But when the locker room is telling you they're not happy with the coaching style, change it up then. So
I tweeted this out. Again, go follow me at Revenev, or you can follow at hockey_2 to follow Pavel here. So I did tweet it out, and I made it be known that people need to lay off of Trey Living, and why would they get rid of the ownership? Why would they let Trey Living walk if he didn't want Sutter there? I want you guys to recognize that Sutter was not a decision hire of Trey Living. He went along with what ownership was wanting and pushing a narrative. So all along, you know what? They had a fabulous run. There was some issues at the end of last year, but they weren't overly worried. Trey Living had to do a lot of work to kind of work around. There was reasons why Goudreau left and took a loss. I said it to you guys. No one wanted to believe me. Now maybe that you're seeing the truth come out a little bit more. Tkachuk already, Goudreau and him were good friends. The moment that Goudreau's gone, you know Tkachuk is gone, and I think Trey Living did the best. Look for him in Pittsburgh, or if Toronto goes out and they move Dubas, he's in Toronto.
I think Dubas
so
is
Pittsburgh.
staying.
So yeah. I do too. I think you'll see Trey Living actually moving into Pittsburgh, unless there's some reason he decides not to go there and he actually wants to work with the rebuild. And could Dorian be moved out in Ottawa with new ownership and Trey Living brought in? That would be a good move.
Also,
and that's speculation.
Look out for Mark Hunter. I know he's had a few snippets at the job, but look out for him for potentially being interviewed for a couple of these positions.
Absolutely.
Will he get it or not?
Okay.
Well, I wanted to talk about Toronto, but clearly you want to go to the New York route. All right, what do you got for us?
Okay, I want us to look right here at the Rangers. One of the things that I wanted to put up on your screen to recognize is the Rangers have Tarasenko, UFA, Kane, UFA, Tyler Mott, UFA, Mikkola, UFA, Halak, UFA. Lafreniere is now a restricted free agent, which we will talk about at a whole other time when I start going through all our prospects and stuff. By the way, on our website, there will be a new menu drop down for Rebs Top 15. I'll be sharing all throughout the year since 2011 is when I first started doing my Rebs Top 15. And so I'll make sure that you guys have our new list. But we're going to talk about Lafreniere and go up because something's got to move on this situation. Or do they give him a chance next year? Or will Gallant be gone and now look for a new coach? Could Calgary hold off to see what happens now in New York? Does New York want to make a change? And do Calgary decide to take Gallant?
May make a change,
yeah. But I know Brunette's name is the one most often mentioned over there. So anyway, there's a lot of work
to right?
Calgary. Yeah, Brunette's name has been, but who knows? Maybe it comes up now for the Rangers too. Yeah. I wonder if they work internally, and I know we haven't been chatting. I was going to check in with Alex Thomas at some point, play-by-play for Hartford, one of our previous guests, and see is there maybe some play that they want to work with someone internally that they didn't go with last time.
Hans has a good suggestion. Hans on cloud number 9 right now, but he's
okay. At the bottom, let me throw it out.
That they should hire Lanny McDonald. I would go even further if you want to get wild. Bring in Jerome McGinley. Oh, would the fans love it? You need some positivity. You got the arena pre-approved. Yep. Bring in some more positivity. Sometimes bringing in those old players can help. Sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard to say, but I think they could really benefit from it. The thing with the Rangers, and I'm going to say this, is their big guys never showed up. And I'm talking about Panarin. Panarin didn't show up. Kane, I mean, he was playing with most players up. Zibanejad struggled. Tarasenko, not really there. Keandre Miller is going to get paid, and New York should hang on to him because he's valuable. Lafreniere, I think we got to start talking about I don't want to say bust level. But
no, he's an NHL guy.
He's an NHL guy,
but he's not a star.
He's not the superstar that we thought. He's a good complementary player that can make an impact. Keato's had more of an impact there than him. So Rangers definitely have some questions to go through. And I'll be honest, Shesterkin stood on his head. That's not on him. He tried to get that team going. But you let the Devils outrun you and outgun you, that's on you. Big question.
And exactly. That's it. By the way, can I just mention, Hans, I know you're talking about Lanny McDonald. I cannot disclose this, but if you are a Flames fan, I don't think Hans is, but if you are a Flames fan out there and you're listening to our show right now, I want you guys to get ready because I think your smiles are going to be getting big in a little while because there is going to be somebody brought into the organization that you guys are going to be very happy to hear about. I expect it could be announced as early as the next 2-3 days, or it could be even up until the draft. But there's someone very happy that is a former Flame that you guys would like to have involved. And that little piece got me thinking about it. I can't say anything else. We'll see what happens on that part, though. Zylstra, she's tapping in.
Does it rhyme with vigil?
Teams need to hire a person best for the job, not some no name or some celebrity. I agree, but let's face it, you also want to be able to bring fans. And so if you have someone that they know and is a celebrity and they're just as good for the job. And the other thing Zilser said is she mentioned this on our website, on our Facebook. She thinks that Ron Francis's assistant general manager, I do not recall her name, Zil. I don't know if you do. You guys out there, she is a female assistant general manager, I believe, with Ron Francis. Nothing can be talked about at this point in time, but that would be a very bold move for a redneck province. No offense, but I think I love that move. I think that would be great. That would really set some people moving.
Alexandra Madricki.
Yeah, well, there you go. Excellent suggestion. Hey, so, Kyle, nice to see you, bud. Sorry, I'm just trying to mention to everybody.
Sorry, we just talked about the Bruins. Ooh.
Yeah, buddy, we already talked about them. You're too late for the show. You got to go back, rewind, and let them all know. So, hey, but I'm sorry. We got people talking. I want to acknowledge them. That's all.
So let's talk, because Hansi's been on here, and we have a lot of Toronto fans.
Yeah.
Props to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Let's go.
I do not like any other fan base bashing Toronto for the fact that they can enjoy a win. Let them savor, because they are in the final 8, and it's been a while, and they deserve it. They finally got through the reigning champions, Tampa Bay Lightning, and they really pushed it. Now,
I'm ready tonight.
The Florida Panthers, and they've lost game 1. That's okay. It's one game. That being said, Tampa played a very different type of game, and I feel that the Panthers hockey is very similar to what Toronto plays. Very run and gun, fast, high octave, high scoring, as we saw last night. I think this is going to 7 matches. I still have, I think, Toronto, because I got to be honest, my whole NHL bracket is off. It's, I mean, the West is
Whose
a
isn't?
little bit steady.
Who isn't, right?
But right now, I think you have to stop Tkachuk, because if you don't stop Tkachuk, he will agitate your team and get out of there and really get in your head. That's how I see it. Yeah.
MVP.
Right now, he is. Yeah.
Right now,
Toronto,
like he
to
me right now
on his first goal. Go ahead.
No, man. I know we're both wanting the time here because you're pumped. It's an exciting time, right?
It's a fun series.
I hate Tkachuk in the years past here, but I wanted him for the Oilers back in the draft day. And I will tell you, I didn't really care that he went to Florida. It wasn't a big deal. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. He is being a shift disturber. He is scoring. He is pulling that team together. That one of the reasons that you don't notice Barkov is because all the attention Tkachuk brings to himself, like he did in Calgary. He is an incredible player, and you guys better appreciate him because he could be the reason that they get through this series. So let's do a series breakdown on this matchup. By the way, I am really shocked. It's really quiet in Toronto. For a lot of you Toronto fans, I didn't sound like a lot of people were too upset. They were pretty cool and relaxed after game 1 loss. So good on you. Good on you. Okay, matchup. Watch this. In their season series, 3-0-1. 3-0-1. So the matchup goes to them. The goals per game are just a little bit higher. The goals against are just a little bit lower, which gives them a better separation. Their power play, though, has been around 28.6 with the game. I think they were around 29 now they're sitting. Now, the power play has not been incredibly good for Florida, but what's been really bad in Florida is their penalty killing. They've only been at barely 60% on their penalty kill.
But is that the season or is that the last series?
Oh, sorry, this isn't their series matchup for right now.
Yeah, so like this is from the season?
Now. See, no. Oh. No, this part is on the series matchup, the season series. Sorry, it's the season series just of their games going into the playoffs. Yeah, But they've actually been below 55% in the playoffs right now. Florida's not moving on all cylinders on their PK. Yeah. That's where they're getting scored on. It's missing in there.
They take a lot of penalties. Paul Murray's teams tend to take a lot of penalties. We saw that at Winnipeg when he was there.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to break down? Why don't you break down? Let's take a look at the goalies. Head-to-head comparison.
Sergei Bobrovsky, who's 0-1-1 versus Ilya Samsonov, who's had a really good, strong end to the season and a really good showing against Tampa, 2-0-1, So goals against, as you can tell, Bobrovsky's got 4.99. Oof, that's a high amount. They got to really bring that down with all the octave power. Han says Kachuk got laid out yesterday by the human eraser. Game 2 is ours. Hey, we lost game 1 because that was supposed to be game 7. We always lose game 7. There you go. And, of course, the save percentage is 841 for Bobrovsky, whereas for Ilya Samsonov is 953, so way better. So you can definitely see Samsonov. And this is, I'm going to say this right now because a lot of people don't want to hear this. Toronto's defense is kind of underrated. I'm not going to lie. People shit on their defense, but they are pretty tight-knit. They have a good pairing. Granted, I know Justin Hall has struggled and he's been moved out of the lineup and it's been a healthy scratch. But when you have Hall or Giordano and Liljegren and or whoever's rotating there, that's a good third pairing. And then, of course, they brought in McCabe, who has been phenomenal as a pairing. TJ Brody has really fit in nicely, and I know that Kyle Dubas really liked him. And really, Morgan Rielly has turned it up an octave and become an elite player. If you're talking about MVPs for Toronto, I'm going with Morgan Rielly. I'm sorry. I know Ryan O'Reilly is there too, so it's hard for announcers to say Riley to O'Reilly to O'Reilly to O'Reilly.
O'Reilly to Riley to O'Reilly. Sounds like the
here's
drunk.
The thing. I still think Toronto takes this, but it'll go to 7 games because I really think that it's going to be high-scoring games. But Toronto goes to the Eastern Conference Finals versus whoever's going to face. But your thoughts, Evan?
Yeah, so I think I said this earlier. Ryan O'Reilly, man, that's the reason that Toronto got through, and they did exactly what they needed to do to get him through. So I truly believe they are going to find a way to make that contract stick for next year, and I expect Ryan O'Reilly to come back. So if you're a Maple Leaf fan and you're excited about
Dubas
it,
stays. Dubas knows how to really, really move.
Yeah, but I think Dubas was staying no matter what.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, you tell me, okay? You're Toronto. Now let's just sit back. If you're a Maple Leaf fan here, let's talk about this for a second here. Hey, so hang on here. Just before I go to this, so my mom is online. She says, hey, Pavel, how about Sutter? Unfortunately, Mom, you're going to have to go back because we just spent about 10, 15 minutes on Sutter a little bit earlier. But quickly give her a synapse. What about Sutter?
Sutter was fired. There was a disconnect with the players and him. They did not agree. And so upper management decided that Sutter needs to go. Okay,
so if you're a Maple Leafs fan, let's go back to this, Pavel. Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
There's all this talk. Who are you going to get to bring in? Like, there's all these theories out there. Who are you going to get that's going to be a better general manager than Kyle Dubas to bring in? Let's just say they lost.
It's the first thing that pops in my head.
Well, and you know what? I think that would be wonderful, but we're talking about never been a general manager in the NHL ever in his life.
Neither was Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, but Kyle Dubas was brought up within the system, though. That's the difference, right? And he had proven in the area of analytics. Analytics was a huge piece on his different part. So anyway, that's what I think. Number one, there's no one else to go to, even if they had lost in the first round. To me, Dubas was staying. The difference is that contract is going to make a difference how much it is based on how well they do. His contract's going up, or if they go out in 4 straight, let's just say he'll get a little bump. That's my take. I cannot see Dubas going no matter what.
Now I think he won't go anywhere. I believe beforehand there was chats with the higher-ups in MLSE, right? The ownership group. And there was one executive that wanted to extend him, and the other 2 put their foot down and said no until they see what happens in the playoffs. And the reason being, Evan, and I will tell you this, and you can disagree with me if you want.
Yeah,
this is a results-driven based industry, and if you don't get results, you're not moving ahead. Look at what happened last year in Boston. They did not succeed. They got rid of their coach, Bruce Cassidy, who people liked, and they went a different direction, and they made some changes. Granted, it didn't work out right now. They had a historic season. But again, you can't predict what's going to happen.
Okay, so I know we got to get some of the other series here and stuff, but let's just say, right now, specifically, Kyle Dubas has been the best. No. You're going off. That's not what I was going to say. Kyle Dubas right now is the best general manager that has assembled the best Toronto Maple Leaf team in history of the expansion era. Only person that could even come close was when Chuck Fletcher went over there and brought Gilmore and a bunch of guys, but he stuck a whole bunch of people and he took a chance on for them to get into where they got in the finals that year. So listen, I can't go with that. This guy is an incredible general manager, and I'm telling you right now that if they let him go, they're making a mistake, and Toronto is not getting out of the first round of the playoffs for a lot more years. They got to sign him.
Let him go. I'm saying before the round one, he was going to be out if they didn't get past the first round. That's what I'm implying.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
That they've made it past the second round, and who knows how far they can go.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Zylstra's just saying, the same as you are. I'm just saying that I think everybody believed that narrative, but it was a narrative that was built because they wanted to keep that narrative around the team. But all along, it's been a stone cold lock. He's coming back. Well, that's my belief.
To be honest with you, he's not signed yet, so anything can still change. So you can't predict that he'll stay.
You're right. You can't predict anything. Maybe he's going to go out and get some double bubble after the hockey game tomorrow night. I don't know.
He may go and what's it called? He may go and work for Fenway. I don't know.
Okay, let's get on to it. Let's get on to the next round. Which one do you want to talk about?
All right, let's get into Seattle and Dallas. But before we get into that series, how did Seattle dismantle the Stanley Cup champions? Evan, your thoughts before we get into the series. Just a quick thought.
Okay. Let me pull this off the screen.
Keep it up.
Okay. How did they dismantle? Pavel, I have no idea how. They talk about depth. They have all these 10-goal scorers. But I've never seen a team assembled like this with basically, you know how you and I used to years ago talk about if you can't get star defensemen, if you have a whole bunch of 3-4D on your top line, second line, and third line, you're going to have a really good team. Somehow they did that with their forwards.
They have 4 sets of second liners or third liners.
Jared McCann had an outstanding year, which I was shocked at what he did. Beniers did, I think, what most of us expected him to do, just because of his talent and his skill. I mean, they're well coached, and I've said this many times. I've corrected myself on Dave Hackstall. In fact, one of our former guests, Jamie Baskell, I don't even remember my name. I'm getting mixed up with Haskell. And so he said how great of a coach he was originally. I didn't think he was, but obviously he is, and he has been showing. I didn't like how they drafted at the expansion, but you know what? Man, Ron Francis had known what he's been doing, and he found the right coach, and he's found the right people. He surrounded him. He uses analytics. He uses eye tests. This is probably one of the most well-balanced, well-run teams. And I do have a couple people that I do kind of know that are connected somewhat on the inside on that team. And what I hear is it's like a big hockey family that just are absolutely in love hanging out every day at the rink, including most of their scouts. So
moving forward,
I don't know, man.
In this series, we've got the Dallas Stars versus the Seattle Kraken. A lot of people are picking Dallas. The season series was 2-0-1 versus 1-1-1. Goals for was 350 versus 257. So better defensively. Seattle plays by committee, as you just alluded to. And goals against is 2.33. So Dallas is also stingy. However, Dallas also has Jay Cottinger, who's probably one of the best goaltenders right now. Kraken are the old A's from years ago. Yeah.
Money ball, eh? Money puck.
Yeah.
Money puck.
That's all it is, right? Because he can bat, 350. That's kind of that whole thing.
That's crazy.
Right? Power play 37.5 versus 14.3, and PK is 81.1 versus 88.9, which is really, really good. And of course, shooting percentage 11.1, so higher shooting percentage from Dallas, and 8.6. Now, key factors: Rupe Hintz and Miro Heiskanen for Dallas. I know Tyler Seguin has been an impactful player, really stepped it up, but those two guys, Hintz and who had an amazing series previously versus Minnesota. But for Seattle, it comes back on the back end. What is Jamie Alexiak doing? How is Adam Larson doing? Because those guys are just unreal. Yeah, and Pavelski, the oldest player to score 4 goals ever in the history of the NHL.
That was amazing.
He was doing all the scoring himself. Oh,
you had Dallas in 3.
Elias had Dallas in 3, but I guess I'm wrong about that one. So
I
still think Dallas wins this because the X factor here is goaltending. And Ken Grubauer had the same exact save percentage that he did against Colorado, which was his revenge tour. As I said at the beginning of our preview, it's the revenge tour. But Evan, what are your thoughts on this series?
Okay, so first I just want to find out what you're meaning. His hand-eye is ridiculous. Are we referring to Grubauer or are we referring to Ottinger right now? Are you in the goalie? I believe you're talking about goalies right now. So, So in this series, again, I don't know why I didn't give enough credit to the Seattle Kraken going into this series for that first game. Oh, Pavelski's hand-eye. Absolutely. Yeah, the guy's amazing. Just that's why the Sharks were good for so many years. All those great players they had, and I guess Dallas knows how to hang in there. So be careful that you don't get on the Kraken train or the Kraken tail or whatever you want to call it, because they could get whipped pretty quick. Dallas has the ability. Ottinger, like the fact that Grubauer played yesterday and last night. He played out of his mind in that game.
I think he had a 921 save percentage versus them, so that was really unreal.
Yeah, I mean, good on Grubauer. He's playing like he did in that playoff year.
He's playing like he's supposed to be paid for it at his $6 million for 6-year contract. So
yeah, he tipped so many
bucks. That being said, Pavelski knows how to score. I think you need more from Jason Robertson, who's really had a good season. I mean, he dropped off like third way through the season, but he really did a point. And Seattle, all I'm going to say is keep playing. The experience, not only for Bernier's and a lot of these other guys, Eli Tovalin, what a pickup from Nashville. Nashville's probably kicking themselves in the foot for missing out on him.
Can we talk about, well, no, we don't have time to, but can we talk about how good all the players Nashville traded are playing for their teams? I mean...
So, what is your prediction for this series? Because I want to transition easily. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. And I just want to mention on this, if you actually look at this, my prediction originally was going to be Dallas in 6. Looking at this, and now with the Kraken, I want to still say Dallas in 6, but I am going to say actually Seattle in 6. I'm not even going to go 7. I am not going to vote against the Seattle Kraken. They find a way to come back and to continue to play well. So considering the game I just saw, and being that it was Dallas is an incredibly good home team, by the way, which is actually quite interesting. Seattle does well away.
This year, the majority of teams winning is on the road. Because
I know,
games last night, and there's a record that they're trying to break.
So let me say something. I just had a conversation actually today with former NHLer Chris Christopoulos. Some of you guys might remember him maybe from the Maple Leaf days, LA Kings. He's played around. If you want to check out, he's got a podcast himself. So I was talking to Chris Christopoulos today, and he was saying that he's noticing with all these changes. And so I asked him, what do you think is making the difference? And this is his thing, corporate money. And so we were talking about how the lower bowls are not blue-collar players, blue-collar people that scream and yell and are fanatics in the bottom, that bang on the glass, get excited. They literally freak out the opposition. Now you have corporate money sending people and friends and family that like the game, but they are not the crazy people. Like when you went into Boston and you were there in the old Boston Gardens, man, you did not mess around. You stayed away from those boards. You felt like someone was going to smack you in the face when you got in that corner. When you played even in the old days at the OK Corral for the Calgary Flames, I mean, it was in your face, people, because it didn't cost as much. Now all those fans moved up a bowl. They're further away from the crowd. Which is, by the way, one thing different for Edmonton because they have a ton of blue-collar people who actually buy through corporate groups and stuff like that in the lower bowl. Very different, and I'm not saying that just because it's my hometown.
Seems like Jordan isn't on the Seattle train, right?
Oh, let's jump over. Okay, Jordan. Oh, he says, Seattle isn't going to win. Jordan, give us your take. What is going to happen to Seattle here? They won the game 1. You tell us. Okay. That's why no one is scared to go into the Leafs arena, all corporate. And you know what? head on. That's
Vancouver's
it.
similar. Vancouver was a similar vibe. So
it's sad.
Another former San Jose Shark that has made an impact on his team and is now in the second round is Brett Burns of the Carolina Hurricanes. Now they're playing tonight versus the New Jersey Devil. What are your thoughts on this series?
Oh man, look at me. I'm all ready tonight, man. I was excited for tonight's show is coming on. Okay, again, man, I did not pick Jersey to come out of this. I thought their inexperience would not do well for them. I thought they'd have to take a little bit of a licking, maybe get game 6 or 7. But they showed up, and they showed up well. I truly believe that the Jersey is going to take this in 6 games because there is no Svechnikov. Svechnikov being out will hurt them when they're up against this team. The only thing that I'm worried about is when it comes to goaltending. I'll come back to this matchup, but look at this. You are talking about Schmid, who is a rookie.
You're a Schmid.
So he is a rookie. You guys catch that? This guy's playing insane. He's in the zone. He's playing well. He had one bad game. Everyone's like, he's done. And I thought he was done. I do not believe that all goaltending is voodoo. I don't agree with that. I believe you can see stuff. But this is a player who has started to make a difference. And actually, it's just like he got that confidence. It's like when you hit the zone, like the Michael Jordan days of basketball, something changes. But I do believe you're looking at whether it's Anderson or Ranta playing net, you're looking at 905 to 910 goaltending save right across the board.
Can we just officially apologize to Ray Leo for the fact that we thought it was going to be over? And he even posted on Facebook saying that it's time to bring out the golf clubs. And yet here the series is turned around and they're in the second round. So props to Ray. I hope you're enjoying it because it's I'm sure Prudential Center is lit up and they're enjoying themselves. The inexperience of the Devils is the only thing. Now, my worry is Timo Meier. Before the hit by Trouba, which we can discuss or not discuss, but he was a game time decision. I don't know if he's playing tonight. I know they're down right now, so they may not win tonight. Carolina's coming in. They're a little bit more rested, which could work in their favor, may not. But Timo Meier needs to get going, and I think he needs to be more impactful, right?
Yeah.
Zylstra called Jersey too. There you go. Zylstra is going to win the whole, what's it called? The whole bet. We have to get her on.
She's going to do the whole bracket and take it down.
That's correct.
That's
what bracket was right last year, not
you know what? We should have trusted Zylstra. She's known as the Lost Trucker. She's getting info every city she crosses in the United States, man. One way or the other. So
my thoughts is I'm still on the Carolina train. I know they're missing a few people.
Okay, that's fair.
And I know, but I still think this is a 6-game go because Carolina can still play defensively strong, and they have 2 goaltenders: Anderson, who's really turned it around, and Antti Ranta. And they have Peter Kiyachuk or whatever his last name is. Right?
You can't say his name, but you can say. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh, hey, quickly, let's just go back. I did ask Jordan. Jordan, I want to give you your moment. I asked you a question. Go ahead. Go ahead, read it there, Pavel.
They said Dallas is going in 6 because they've got more elite players, also deeper down the middle. They can't see Seattle pulling this off and going far. Stars were just in the final a couple of years ago. That's true in the bubble.
Let's ask Jordan this question then. Do you think that Dallas is deeper than even what Colorado had? Because Colorado, I think, was just as deep.
Colorado was injured. That's the problem. Dallas
but they were still deep, man. I don't know. So, but good point.
When you lose Bakar for a game, when you don't have your captain Gabriel Landeskog, when
there you go,
Rantanen was okay. He's already been yanked. Oh, there you go. He's talking about Akira Schmid, right? So there you
that's
go.
fair.
So again, it's game 1. Anything can happen. You can't lose your mind. Let's see where we're at in a couple games. In a few days, because that's going to be important. But again, I still have Carolina because Carolina is an elite team, and they have their experience. And on the back end, they're pretty strong. And Brent Burns, as we talked about, former San Jose players who have an impact. He's really brought up his scoring. The one person that I think everyone wants to see get going, and I think Edmontonian fans would love to see, is the Bison King. Yessi has had an opportunity to play, even on the top power play. but he's not producing. He's doing the right things, but he needs to finish.
But he's playing defensively and he's getting the cut. So hey, we got to cut over. We got to cut over right now, guys. Just to mention about a couple of our things. So go ahead and tell them where they can follow, and I'll talk about our partnership.
You can follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter at RevNev or Hockey_2. You can give us a follow on Facebook on our Hockey Two Guys in Hockey Talk page and on YouTube. And every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we are live Mountain Standard Time.
All right, guys. Also, just remember the Sports Empire Network is partnering up with us. So as our partners, they are on all our hockey is on their streams as well. And so give them a follow for all your other sports podcasts that you'd like, including wrestling, AEW, by the way, which is coming to Edmonton in July. Me and my wife, we're going. We're taking in a double event. We're going to take Dynamite. You got to talk to your wife, Pavel. We got to do a double date, man. We got to go see Dynamite live, and then we're a pre-recorded show. It's in July.
Okay.
July. You might be gone, but who knows? So anyway, guys, you got to check out Sports Empire. They're doing a lot on
this show.
They got a lot of basketball and a whole bunch of other stuff going on,
as celebrating with the Stanley Cup champions and beer out of the Stanley Cup. I'm not saying which team, but I'm just saying.
So as well as, if you do not know, twoguysinhockeytalk.com. JR Web Designs, our new partner, has joined in. Also will be a new writer on our page. So if you are interested in writing, you can either through Twitter, you can tweet us, let us know, just send us a DM. If you can't DM or you can't figure out how, even through our Facebook page, any of our social mediums, go to our twoguysinhockeytalk.com, send us a contact. By the way, we don't have the writers set up yet, but all of our social platforms are in there, and all of our former guests, if you're wanting to be able to follow. And then just today, for those that have just jumped in late here, we have just announced a brand new partnership with PB, meaning Penny Billionaires, the electronic hard rock band, for exclusive rights to their song for our show called Invincible. So stick around at the end of the show. It'll be our first new video, our intro and ending that will be coming up by Music Invincible by Penny Billionaires. It's going to be a great partnership for all of you in Arizona. They are local to Phoenix. It is by Greg Parks. And, oh, man, I got to remember Evan. So their lead singer is Evan, incredible guitarist. You guys, I believe, go check out their stuff. You're going to like it if you like hard rock. It's going to be a great piece. So we're looking forward to connecting with the music world through Penny Billionaires. Gotta love it, eh? We're billionaires because we got a lot of pennies. I love the name. It's going to stick. You're not going to forget. So, okay, let's continue.
All right. So we are on the West Coast because we've talked about all the East teams, right? We've talked about.
That's it. We're ready. We got one last one, right?
We've got the Oilers and we've got the Vegas Golden Knights. Now let's talk a little bit about Vegas dismantling Winnipeg.
Okay.
What did you think of that series? Quick thoughts.
Okay. Let me move that off. Okay. Whoa. Actually, it was interesting because, everyone talked about upsets in the first round. That was the most probable upset by all the media pundits, all the guys in the know, a lot of your insiders. Everyone felt that Winnipeg had it. And let's face it, they literally have possibly destroyed the Winnipeg Jets franchise when at the end, their coach comes out and puts the team out, doesn't talk to them, and then expects them to deal with the aftermath.
He talked to them at the beginning
He
of the year.
did not talk the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, he came out and he publicly chastised them for their effort, what they were doing, and he did not have a conversation behind the doors.
He did, because he said midway through the season when they were in the top division in January, he had the conversation.
We're talking playoffs. We're talking playoffs, dude. What are you talking about?
He said
okay,
that.
so because
quote Rick Bowness.
Okay, well, hey, I'm quoting his end of the year talk. He came out.
It was the same thing in January when we were top of the Central Division, and it's the same habits that came out that are happening right now. And there was no push.
So I don't know if you know this or if you've been in locker rooms, dude. Coaches call the same thing 5-7 times a year in the NHL. It's not new news for that. At the end of the year, they put a winning streak together so that they can make the playoffs. That is all the past. when that guy came out and he starts putting the team, and he did send him under the butt. Maybe you disagree. That's perfectly fine. Guys, what's your thoughts? Do you guys think that what the coach did was proper? I say it's not. No,
yeah, he did. Okay. Yeah, he calls his team out. What did Paul? Let's talk about the Panthers. What did Paul Maurice do in that win against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the regular season? What did he do on the bench? He called that team out, and he freaked out on them, and then he called them out after in the game. Even though they won that game, he called them out after. And where are the Panthers now, Evan? Because coaches are allowed to call their teams out and call BS when they're not playing well. And Bowness did that. He was brought in to change the culture. He helped them, and they were going well at the beginning of the season. Come January, they were top of the Central. They struggled after that, and they barely made it to the playoffs. And rather than come out strong, which they did game 1, they blew it the next 4 games. And what did he say? They didn't play with enough urgency, and they didn't have enough pushback. And just because Blake Wheeler, who's had issues in the past with his leadership, doesn't mean he's a right to be upset about this. But the team needed to step up, and they did. He can say all he wants. Maybe they were blindsided, but they needed a good kick in the pants. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well, obviously you wanted to get your word in because you asked me to get my take, and I didn't get it out. So I'm going to now come up with my take and tell you that I'm going to call bullshit on your answer because you don't talk about that in front of players. I'll tell you what happens. You're Sutter, and you're fired. So expect Maurice. There's going to be backlash to this. You don't do that to players. It was a playoff series.
He's coming back next year.
Okay, hey, just calm down, man. I'm the one talking here. I got the mic. So what happens, and to say he's coming back, you know nothing what you're talking about, because just because he has a contract doesn't mean he's not going to get fired over this. This is really bad, and this team may not recover from this. They're going to lose players. Winnipeg's a hard place to find players. And I'm telling you, just like I said things in Calgary, you got to listen to what I'm saying, man. Otherwise, you guys are going to go, oh, I can't believe they're in for a surprise. Maurice screwed this team. He screwed this team. Blake Wheeler, you can call him out on the ice. You can do whatever, but you don't have those conversations. I've actually just had a conversation today with a former NHL player who said what happened is unacceptable. It's not acceptable. It's unacceptable, not unacceptable. I can't even use proper grammar. Oh, Blake, your IKEA friend's going to call me out again. But I'm just telling you. I know you all have a different take maybe, but I'm just telling you, not a good thing. And I think this is going to mess around with that organization now. That's my take.
First off, Dubois won it out anyways, and I will agree it is tough to bring in guys into that organization because it's tough to play for Winnipeg. I will concede to that. What I will not concede to is the fact that during the press conference for end of season for Kevin Shenadayov, he guaranteed the GM that Rick Bowness is back. So unless he's being fired anytime soon, he's sticking around because he got this team into the playoffs and he made them competitive. What I think is going to happen is there are going to be some roster moves for sure. And one of those could be Blake Wheeler, maybe Mark Scheifele in his last year, Dubois, who's been rumored with Montreal, and we all knew about last year around the deadline. But I disagree. I think sometimes players need to be called out in public by their coach. And he said they had no heart. And when you lose 4 straight in a row and don't play as well, then that's what it is. The other big question surrounding that team is Hellebuck and what's his future. But I agree with what he did.
So we've taken quite a bit of time. We're down to 4 minutes, and we got to talk about the Edmonton series. So, guys, we're going to talk about more in the offseason about this stuff. We're going to flash it and going all over on our stuff here. But let me just say this. Jay Woodcroft and John Cooper are the new NHL coach. They don't burn bridges, and I agree with Zylstra on that take. So, okay, man, go ahead. What you got going? What's your take here on what's happening with Edmonton and Vegas?
I'm looking forward to the first overall pick versus the second overall pick from 2015 going head-to-head finally.
It's so exciting.
It's going to be a battle. I love both these teams. I give the slight edge to defense to Vegas. Goaltending is going to be the same. I'm sorry. I know Brossoit is good, but I think Skinner can hold his own. And, of course, through the goalie rotation, we talked at the beginning of the season and with Leah Hextall about it. You guys can go back and watch it. They did have a goalie rotation. We didn't know if it's going to work. They ended up top of the division. So it starts in Vegas tonight. But I really think Edmonton takes this in 6. And I think Edmonton can really run because, again, the road team has been successful and they can really make an impact. and you're not stopping Connor McDavid, who people said wasn't having a good quiet or not a very good first series. He had 10 points, 3 goals, 7 assists. If that's what you call quiet, let's see what is loud.
Well, and not to mention Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was quiet. Hyman until the last game there, until the second last game was quiet. I mean, some of those top 6 outside of, and Dry is on a record-breaking scoring pace in the NHL playoff history, right up there ahead of Mario Lemieux. So that's just telling you the way this is going. So I agree. I think what's going to show, we're going to see the difference between depth of the forwards of Vegas and the Oilers. So it's really going to be the difference. That's where I think it's going to make a difference. The fourth line, how are they going to perform versus Edmonton, between Vegas and Edmonton? I think that's where it lies. But I'm telling you, be ready for a high-scoring series. These goalies are going to get eaten alive. I guarantee it.
So I agree. The only way Vegas makes it through this round, and if they can make an impact, is a healthy Mark Stone. That's the biggest thing.
Okay, any news? I don't know if anyone's been checking. We're going to go check out the game as soon as we're off here in just another minute or two. I don't know if you guys, but the whole thing about Stone being injured.
No, he's playing. He's in.
So is he in? Because did you see it on Twitter? Okay. So Stone went off the ice with back issue. Jason Gregor put out the tweet. There was a piece that showed it. He was going off. I am someone who deals with back. You could tell the way he was going off there. Now, he might just take a lot of pills and do the painkillers with what's left on it and stuff like that. Yes, still 1 year left. They could be trading him this offseason. That could be a good trade where they could rebuild.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's another whole show, guys. That we're gonna have to get. That's some good rumors, some good talk. We're gonna have to see where that might end up going. So anyway,
Tristan Jarry is a UFA, and Casey Smith, I believe.
We're gonna be in the middle of the series next week when our show comes back on. So we will be back on 7:00. Sorry for the 6:40 time. We're ready to go check out. Again, if you haven't heard it, the great news. Our big contract signing, we're putting the ink to it. Penny Billionaires, electronic hard rock band. We have our own music for them. So guys, thanks so much for following, sharing, being a part of everything that we're doing. We greatly appreciate it. So we're going to go out. Last thoughts, buddy?
It's been a wild first round. Let's make sure the second one is even wilder.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be a crazy and a ring-a-ding-dong dandy of a second round playoff. In the meantime and in between time.
Keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe. Enjoy the playoffs.
Cheers.
I'm hanging on a wire, a foot over the fire, and it's burning, I can feel it inside. Done with the same cliche, done with the day after day. There's got to be a way. Now is the time to break the tie. I'll live, I'll die for what is right.